Astro-Vāstu for Cancer rising, Karka Lagna, a house-wise spatial doctrine for moon-led containment, safety, and emotional regulation. 1. First house, Lagna zone, emotional envelope. Cancer rising is ruled by the moon and governed by water. This makes the home an extension of the emotional body. For Cancer, strength does not come from exposure or stimulation. It comes from containment, predictability, and softness. When the overall house lacks emotional insulation, the effects are subtle but exhausting. Mood swings without clear triggers, emotional fatigue, withdrawal or overattachment, digestive sensitivity, and sleep disruption. The Lagna zone must feel protective, familiar, and gently enclosing. If the house feels performative or sharp, the moon stays hyper-alert. Second house, main entrance, emotional filter gate. This zone governs what emotional tone enters life each day. North supports mental reassurance and calm processing. Northeast stabilizes the moon through higher perspective and emotional grounding. When the entrance is harsh, dark, or aggressive, emotional defensiveness increases. Anxiety appears without cause. The nervous system stays guarded. A soft, welcoming threshold filters emotional input before it reaches the moon. Third house, living room, emotional exchange zone. This space determines how Cancer processes people and relationships. Cancer needs gentleness here, not stimulation. Sharp lines or confrontational layouts drain emotional reserves. When aligned, social interaction feels nourishing. Emotional boundaries stay intact. You feel held rather than obligated. When misaligned, emotional exhaustion after socializing, irritability without clear reason, retreating into silence. This zone teaches Cancer how to connect without depletion. 4. Fourth house, inner emotional foundation. This is Cancer's core safety zone. The moon seeks familiarity, rhythm, and sensory comfort. Sudden contrasts, loud colors, or chaotic layouts destabilize the emotional baseline. If disturbed, chronic unease, emotional eating or withdrawal, difficulty settling. When stabilized, this zone allows emotions to ebb and flow without overwhelm. 5. Fifth house, emotional joy and bonding. This zone governs how Cancer experiences happiness. Joy for Cancer is quiet, relational, and emotionally warm. Overstimulating or fiery expressions exhaust the moon. When balanced, emotional creativity blooms, bonding feels natural, playfulness returns gently. When blocked, loss of joy, over-attachment seeking reassurance excessively. 6. Sixth house, kitchen and emotional nourishment. For Cancer, food equals emotional continuity. The kitchen regulates mood stability, family bonding, digestive health. When aligned, eating patterns stabilize, emotional security improves, care feels reciprocal. When misplaced, emotional instability, anxiety around food or family, domestic tension. This zone determines whether the moon feels nourished or depleted. 7. Seventh house, master bedroom, emotional core. This is the most critical zone for Cancer rising. The moon must fully rest here. If not, emotional insecurity persists even in loving relationships. When disturbed, sleep issues, feeling unsupported, emotional dependence, or withdrawal. When aligned, deep emotional rest, relationship trust, inner safety returns. This is where Cancer learns to let go without fear. 8. Eighth house, storage and emotional memory. This zone governs stored emotions and subconscious attachments. Cancer tends to hold on. Clutter here amplifies emotional weight and memory loops. When balanced, emotional release becomes possible. Old attachments soften, resilience strengthens. When neglected, emotional hoarding, mood heaviness, difficulty moving on. 9. Ninth house, emotional beliefs and meaning. This zone shapes how Cancer understands its emotions. Without coherence here, feelings feel overwhelming and directionless. When aligned, emotional wisdom grows, intuition sharpens, trust in life stabilizes. When blocked, emotional confusion, loss of faith, over-identification with moods. 10. 10th house, work from home and emotional authority. This zone governs how Cancer sustains responsibility without burnout. Cancer works best when emotional pressure is low and expectations are humane. When aligned, productivity feels gentle, authority feels supportive, career stress reduces. When misaligned, emotional burnout, feeling overwhelmed by responsibility, withdrawal from ambition. 11. 11th house, support systems and emotional circulation. This zone governs how support flows into Cancer's life. Erratic or harsh social dynamics destabilize the moon. When balanced, support feels reliable. emotional reciprocity improves, community nourishes rather than drains. When blocked, feeling unsupported, emotional isolation, fear of depending on others. 12th house, emotional release and deep rest. This zone teaches Cancer the core lesson: you are safe even when nothing is happening. It governs sleep, emotional surrender, deep rest. When aligned, sleep deepens, emotional resilience increases, peace emerges without withdrawal. When disturbed, insomnia, emotional overwhelm, escapist tendencies. Core Astro-Vāstu principle for Cancer rising. Astro-Vāstu for Cancer is about emotional insulation. When your home protects the southwest, softens the northeast, balances fire gently, keeps water calm and contained, the moon expresses as emotional resilience, deep bonding, intuitive intelligence, inner peace without withdrawal. A Cancer home must feel like a safe shell, not a showroom. Astro-Vāstu interior design for Cancer rising. A moon-led housewise spatial doctrine for containment, safety, and emotional regulation. 1. First house, Lagna zone, emotional envelope. For you as a Cancer rising, the house is not a stage and not a statement. It is a protective shell for your emotional body. The moon governs tides, rhythms, memory, and sensitivity. Your strength does not come from exposure or stimulation. It comes from containment, predictability, and softness. When the overall home lacks emotional insulation, too sharp, too open, too performative, you may not notice a single dramatic problem. Instead, exhaustion sets in quietly. Mood swings appear without clear triggers. Emotional fatigue accumulates. Sleep and digestion lose rhythm. I always say this to Cancer natives: your Lagna zone must feel familiar the moment you step in. Rounded forms, gentle transitions, and soft lighting tell the moon it is safe. Colors should feel nurturing: cream, pearl, soft gray, pale blue, muted sage. Nothing glossy, nothing loud. Furniture should feel enclosing rather than exposed. If the house feels like it is constantly asking you to respond, the moon never rests. When it feels like it is holding you, emotional regulation begins automatically. 2. Main entrance, emotional filter gate. This is where the emotional tone of the outside world enters your life. For Cancer rising, the entrance must filter, not amplify. North supports mental reassurance and calm processing. Northeast stabilizes the moon by offering perspective and gentle grounding. When this threshold is harsh, dark, or aggressive, the nervous system stays guarded even before the day begins. I suggest a soft, welcoming entrance, warm light, gentle textures, and a sense of quiet order. The door should feel protective, not imposing. The transition inward should slow you down slightly, like stepping into calmer water. When this zone is right, emotional defensiveness reduces. Anxiety stops appearing without cause. The moon learns that not every stimulus is a threat. 3. Third house, living room, emotional exchange zone. This space determines how you process people. You do not need stimulation here. You need gentleness. Sharp lines, confrontational seating, or overly bright lighting drain your emotional reserves faster than you realize. I always advise curved furniture, soft fabrics, and layouts that allow closeness without pressure. When aligned, social interaction feels nourishing. You connect without losing boundaries. You feel held rather than obligated. When misaligned, even pleasant conversations leave you emotionally exhausted, irritable, or silent afterward. This zone teaches you that connection does not have to cost you energy. 4. Fourth house, inner emotional foundation. This is your true center of gravity. The moon here seeks rhythm, familiarity, and sensory comfort. Sudden contrasts, loud colors, chaotic layouts, or constant rearrangement destabilize your emotional baseline. You may feel chronically uneasy without knowing why. I recommend repetition in textures, familiar objects, and stable arrangements. Lighting should be warm and consistent. This is not the place for experimentation. When stabilized, emotions ebb and flow naturally instead of overwhelming you. You feel at home not just in space, but in yourself. 5. Fifth house, emotional joy and bonding. Joy for you is quiet, relational, and warm. This is not a zone for excitement or performance. Overstimulating colors, fiery themes, or loud expression exhaust the moon. When balanced, emotional creativity blooms gently. Bonding feels natural. Playfulness returns without effort. When blocked, joy fades quietly. You may seek reassurance excessively or attach too strongly to what feels safe. This space reminds you that happiness does not have to be real. 6. 6th house, kitchen and emotional nourishment. For Cancer rising, food equals emotional continuity. The kitchen regulates mood stability, family bonding, and digestive health. When this zone is aligned, eating patterns stabilize, and care feels reciprocal rather than draining. The space should feel warm, familiar, and easy to maintain. When misplaced or chaotic, emotional instability appears, often as anxiety around food, family tension, or digestive sensitivity. I always say, if the kitchen feels rushed, the moon feels uncared for. When it feels steady, nourishment becomes emotional as well as physical. 7th house, master bedroom, emotional core. This is the most critical zone for you. The moon must fully rest here. If it doesn't, emotional insecurity persists even inside loving relationships. Sleep becomes shallow. You may feel unsupported or oscillate between emotional dependence and withdrawal. I advise soft lighting, heavy curtains, grounded furniture, and a cocoon-like feeling. This room should feel like a retreat from the world, not a continuation of it. When aligned, deep emotional rest becomes possible, trust grows, and inner safety returns. This is where you learn that letting go does not mean losing connection. 8th house, storage and emotional memory. This zone holds what you have not released. Cancer naturally remembers and retains. But clutter here amplifies emotional weight and memory loops. Old objects, forgotten items, and disorganized storage keep past feelings alive in the background. When balanced, emotional release becomes possible. Old attachments soften. Resilience strengthens quietly. When neglected, emotional hoarding increases and moods feel heavier than they need to be. For you, clearing this space is an act of emotional mercy, not detachment. 9th house, emotional beliefs and meaning. This space shapes how you make sense of your feelings. Without coherence here, emotions feel overwhelming and directionless. You may over-identify with moods or lose faith during emotional lows. When aligned, emotional wisdom grows. Intuition sharpens. You trust life even when feelings fluctuate. This zone helps you remember that emotions are information, not identity. 10th house, work from home and emotional authority. Responsibility weighs heavily on you when emotional support is missing. You work best when expectations are humane and pressure is low. A calm, reassuring workspace prevents burnout and allows authority to feel supportive rather than demanding. When misaligned, emotional exhaustion builds. Ambition feels heavy. Withdrawal replaces motivation. When aligned, productivity feels gentle and sustainable. You lead through care, not force. 11th house, support systems and emotional circulation. This zone governs how support flows towards you. Erratic, harsh, or transactional social dynamics destabilize the moon quickly. When balanced, support feels reliable and reciprocal. Community nourishes rather than drains. When blocked, you may feel emotionally isolated even when surrounded by people, or feared of depending on others. This space reminds you that receiving support is not weakness, it is regulation. 12th house, emotional release and deep rest. This zone teaches you the core lesson of Cancer rising. You are safe even when nothing is happening. It governs sleep, emotional surrender, and deep rest. When aligned, sleep deepens, emotional resilience increases, and peace emerges without withdrawal. When disturbed, insomnia, emotional overwhelm, or escapist tendencies arise. Here, stillness is not emptiness, it is safety. Astro-Vāstu for Cancer is about emotional insulation. When your home protects the southwest, softens the northeast, balances fire gently, and keeps water calm and contained, the moon expresses as emotional resilience, deep bonding, intuitive intelligence, and inner peace without withdrawal. A Cancer home must feel like a safe shell, not a showroom,